Good evening, Bersatu Michael, and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Sabah has a new chief minister. So while PN got the post it wanted, it wasn't the case for BN at first. All that and more on this episode. Hajiji Noor, Bersatu's leading figure in Sabah, has been sworn in as the state's new chief minister. The swearing-in ceremony took place before Sabah Governor Juha Mahiruddin at the State Palace in Kota Kinabalu this morning.
Saya Hajiji bin Haji Noor setelah dilantik ke jawatan sebagai Ketua Menteri Negeri Sabah adalah dengan sesungguhnya mengangkat sumpah bahawa saya akan menunaikan kewajipan-kewajipan saya.
Hajiji will be assisted by three deputies who are Sabah BN Chief Bung Radin, Star President Jeffrey Kitingan and PBS Vice President Yohim Gunsalam.
Saya Bung bin Radin setelah dilantik ke jawatan sebagai Ahli Jamaah Menteri Negeri Sabah adalah dengan sungguhnya mengangkat sumpah bahawa saya akan menunaikan kewajipan-kewajipan saya sebagai demikian dengan jujur.
Bung will also hold the portfolio as Sabah Housing and Local Government Minister, while Kitingan will be the State Minister for Agriculture and Food Industries, and Yohim as the State Minister of Trade and Industry. Also sworn in today are Sabah Bersatu Deputy Chief Masidi Manjun as State Minister of Works and PBS Secretary General Jahid Jahim as State Rural Development Minister. Among those present at the event were Defence Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob and Agriculture and Food Industries Minister Ronald Kiandi. Perikatan Nasional, BN and PBS, collectively known as Gabungan Rakyat Sabah, won the state election on Saturday with 38 out of the 73 seats. They have since secured the support of three independent assemblypersons. Warisan Plus, meanwhile, won 32 seats. Hajiji was appointed as Chief Minister after intense discussions on Sunday, a post BN had wanted Bung to take up initially. Hajiji ended up with the top post in the state, but Bung didn't appear to get what he wanted. But thanks to Hajiji's quick reaction, a disaster was averted. After the swearing-in ceremony this morning, the new Sabah Chief Minister, Hajiji Noor, held a press conference to announce a reshuffle of cabinet positions. Sabah BN Chief Bung Radin was initially appointed as the Sabah Housing and Local Government Minister. However, according to Hajiji, Bung will be taking up a different portfolio.
Bahawa timbalan Ketua Menteri 1 merangkap Menteri Kerja Raya ialah Datuk Bung Radin. Sementara Menteri Kerajaan Tempatan dan Perumahan dan juga merangkap Menteri Kawangan kedua ialah Datuk Seri Panglima Masidi Manjun. Saya mengucapkan hormat Datuk Seri Masidi Manjun membantu saya dalam kawangan, terutama sekali untuk memulihkan ekonomi negeri Sabah dan juga menghadapi pandemik COVID-19 ini.
So why the change of portfolios? There's a story behind it, and it goes something like this. Shortly after the swearing-in, PN party staffers revealed that Bung was unhappy with the portfolio he was given originally and had wanted to control the State Works Ministry. Bung was then set to call a press conference at his residence in Luyang, Kota Kinabalu. However, before Bung could proceed with the press conference at 1:30 p.m, he was summoned to the State Government building. With Bung's press conference postponed, Hajiji sought to prevent a crisis as he negotiated with the UMNO leaders before the matter could go public. Bung, accompanied by UMNO Vice President Ismail Sabri Yaakob and Matzir Khalid, as well as UMNO Secretary General Ahmad Mazlan, were seen entering Hajiji's office at 1 p.m. Finally, at a 2 p.m. press conference convened by Hajiji, he confirmed that Bung and Masidi will swap portfolios, with Bung getting his desired State Works Ministry. At the press conference, Hajiji downplayed the friction between him and Bung.
Datuk, tadi ada speculation kata UMNO tak puas hati dengan jawatan yang diberikan kepada Datuk Bung. Tak betul.
UMNO ada sini.
Jadi
Speaking to reporters later, Bung had this to say.
Tapi Datuk Seri kadang diumum Menteri Perumahan kan Jabatan, tapi kan di PNS Menteri Kejayaan.
Dia perubahan ni boleh berlaku mengikut kesesuaian lah, tidak ada masalah.
While Bung and Hajiji tried to portray the last-minute swap as nothing out of the ordinary, Masidi wasn't shy about airing his surprise. The screening of passengers at KLIA has improved after the chaos we saw on Sunday. The COVID-19 screening process for travellers originating from Sabah appears to have improved on Monday, a day after the chaos that left some passengers waiting for up to 8 hours. Based on the observations made by Malaysia Kini reporter Fakrul Halim and KiniTV reporter Mandy Leong, who arrived in Kuala Lumpur yesterday after covering the Sabah state election, Malaysia Airport Holdings Berhad and the Health Ministry have worked to make improvements. They observed that the process had gone smoothly for a flight that departed from Tawau and landed at Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 3:50 p.m. yesterday. Passengers were asked to fill up 2 forms before departure, one for COVID-19 testing and the other for a home surveillance order. Upon arrival, auxiliary police personnel instructed passengers to scan a QR code using the My Sejahtera app, which prompted another form to appear that passengers were required to fill. Passengers were given some time to fill the form in a waiting area. Those who completed the form would be taken through a special lane by auxiliary police to a testing area, which was located at the immigration counters for the International Arrival Hall. Early birds were at an advantage here since those who reached at the testing area before the other passengers found the process to be quick and smooth. When passengers arrived at the testing area, they were directed to a desk where several officers checked their documents, after which they proceeded to another counter to have their swab samples taken. Passengers who were continuing their journey home by public transport would have to fill an additional form, which was the permission letter to take public transport, which was only valid on the day it was issued. Early in the process, when passengers filled up online forms in the waiting area, MAHP staff were on hand to distribute refreshments in the form of bread and bottled water to passengers. Once testing was completed, passengers were again offered food and snacks as they left the testing area to collect their baggage. This was in contrast to the situation on Sunday, when passengers complained of being left hungry as they waited for their turn to get tested. When asked, a Health Ministry official on duty explained that the waiting time depended on the number of flights arriving at any given time. The official said that after 3 p.m, the ministry would increase their number of staff to handle the busier flight schedules in the evening, which nevertheless still resulted in a longer wait. The infections in Sabah continue to drive 3-digit numbers of new cases in Malaysia. Here's the country's latest COVID-19 situation. Malaysia has reported 101 new COVID-19 cases, of which 97 were locally acquired infections while 4 were imported. Sabah continues to lead with 73 cases detected in the state. Meanwhile, Health Ministry Director General Dr. Noor Abdullah revealed that 17 other cases involve people who have visited Sabah recently. This included the newly discovered Bakawali cluster in Johor. Noor told a press conference in Putrajaya today that the index cases of the cluster are a husband and wife who travelled to Sampurna, Sabah from September 13 to September 18th. On September 24th, both developed symptoms of fever, colds and coughs and sought treatment at the Sultan Ismail Hospital in Johor Bahru. Their COVID-19 test results came back positive on September 26th and both were admitted at the Encik Besar Haja Kasum Hospital in Johor. Contact tracing then led health officials to identify 2 more cases in the cluster. To date, 4 have been found positive in this cluster out of 25 people tested. 8 more are still pending their results. Apart from Bakawali, 3 other new clusters were also reported today, 2 in Sabah and 1 in Selangor. Coming up next, the Selangor government got roasted this morning. You wouldn't want to miss that. The Selangor government's plan to de-gazette a forest reserve in the state has been opposed by representatives from both sides of the political divide. The Selangor government's proposal to de-gazette most of the Kuala Langat North Forest Reserve for a mixed development project faced strong bipartisan opposition at a town hall meeting this morning. PKR Bukit Lanjan representative Elizabeth Wong, Pasi Jangkang representative Ahmad Yunus Hairi and DAP Banting representative Lau Weng San were among the many who stood up to air their views at the meeting in Pulau Keri. Addressing her speech to Town Hall Chairperson and Selangor Executive Committee member Lee Loy Sian, she quoted his 2019 speech in which he assured forest reserves in Selangor would only be developed for TMB infrastructure, Ais Selangor pipeworks and highway projects.
Pada November 2019, ada seorang YB yang cerdik dan juga yang berwibawa yang memberi jaminan kepada kita dengan quotation ini yang disebut dalam satu seminar frame. Kita hanya membenarkan 3 projek yang boleh menggunakan hutan simpan kekal, iaitu menggunakan HSK bagi pembangunan infrastruktur, talian TNB, jajaran pipe Ais Selangor, syarikat konsesi Lebuh Raya. Nama YB itu adalah YB Loy Sian. I believe in you. I will stand behind you to fight them. Tapi YB dan juga semua exco dan juga agensi-agensi kerajaan, jangan takut. We must have the courage of conviction. We have been voted in here to be government to change. Kita nak ubah. We cannot be like the governments before.
Wong stressed her disappointment over the plan, especially as the reserve was one of the 4 remaining peat swamps in the state. She also questioned if the state-owned firm Menteri Bersatu Incorporated was the real developer behind the project. Ahmad Yunus was similarly against the project and urged the state government to focus on empowering nearby Orang Asli communities instead. 4 Orang Asli villages previously protested the plan, as they would no longer be able to rely on the forest reserve for their food, medicinal and cultural needs. Selangor Menteri Besar Amiruddin Shari previously explained that the government wanted to develop the forest reserve as many trees had become degraded and now posed a fire hazard. He also assured that this loss would be made up by gazetting new areas as forest reserves. The WHO has announced the rollout of rapid test kits to low and middle income countries to help them keep up with testing. Some 120 million rapid diagnostic tests for COVID-19 will be made available to low and middle income countries at a maximum of $5 or about 20 ringgit each, according to the WHO. The wider availability of quick, reliable and inexpensive testing will help 133 countries to track infections and contain the spread, closing the gap with wealthy ones. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom said the manufacturers Abbott and SD Biosensor had agreed with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to make 120 million of these new highly portable and easy-to-use rapid COVID-19 diagnostic tests available over a period of 6 months. He told a news conference in Geneva that the tests were currently priced at the maximum of $5 each, but were expected to become cheaper. The Foundation of Innovative New Diagnostics said the deal was a major milestone as it was urgent to increase testing in poorer countries. This comes as the global death toll from COVID-19 rose past 1 million on Tuesday, according to a Reuters tally. It is a bleak milestone in a pandemic that has devastated the global economy, overloaded health systems, and changed the way people live. The number of deaths from the novel coronavirus this year is now double the number of people who died annually from malaria. The death rate has increased in recent weeks as infections surge in several countries. It took just 3 months for COVID-19 deaths to double from 500,000, an accelerating rate of fatalities since the first death was recorded in China in early January. More than 5,400 people are dying around the world every 24 hours, according to a Reuters calculation based on September averages, overwhelming funeral businesses and cemeteries. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.